Shit moms won't say.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shit Moms Won't Say. I was going to write a little poem for my guest tonight, but Mama's tired, all right? You probably know her from your social feeds, and she has a book out now that y'all should read. Fresh Rhymes Daily, jokes that make you spit. Ladies and gentlemen, Rhyme Mama, Sarah, Webster, Plitt.
Hello.
How'd I
do? Boom.
Crushed it. Mic drop, pen drop. Bam. And as I told you before, I was like, fuck, my notes are down here. I hope I don't mess it up. I'm sweating trying to get this like 4-sentence rhyme out. So that just to check in on my like talent and skill level. That's where we are. But I had to rhyme for you. You're a good, you're a good poet.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll frame it and mail it to you. I think it's worth it. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're both East Coast babes now. I know you were a New York City chickie for a long time, and now you're in Jersey.
Yes.
So we're neighbors.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm on Long Island.
Oh, okay.
So represent, right?
I was Queens. I was in Astoria.
Neighbors, even more neighbors. Mm-hmm. Before we get into the Big Mom 3, we were chatting for a few minutes before this, and you said my favorite sentence that any mother could ever say to another human being. We were talking that my daughter, she just turned 1 and she's having like a little bit of a sleep regression, which my wife and I don't know how to handle. I've talked about it on here before because she's a great sleeper. So any type of sleep regression, we're like, I don't fucking know. And you said, well, what did you say to me? What was the way you phrased this?
Well, what worked for us is...
There it is. And cut. That's the whole show. That's the only reason we're here to talk. So, but that was awesome. And actually, can you share that little ditty with everybody? Because I thought what you did for your kids' sleep regression was so smart.
It came from, it was advised to me from, we hired somebody because our sleep was so bad. And she does a sleep story where you have a story that you write for your child that goes along with the stuffed animal that they have. And she already had this cute little owl puppet. And so I told the story about the owl and the peacock. And the peacock was afraid to go to sleep at night until her mom introduced her to special owl. Owls are special because they are brave, they're kind, and they're nocturnal, which means they stay up at night. So when she would go to sleep at night, Owl would fly overhead and watch her while she was sleeping. And then when Owl would go to sleep, Peacock would watch her. And so they formed this beautiful friendship where they would look out for one another. And to this day, she sleeps with Special Owl. And my youngest, when she had her sleep regression, I told the same story, gave her the same owl, and she sleeps with it too. So they each have their own special owl now.
Well, hoot hoot, my friend, because my daughter will be getting an owl. That's so awesome.
It might not work, but it worked for us.
It worked for you. It worked for you. And wait, is the owl's name actually Special Owl?
It is Special Owl. That's just how the story just evolved. Like we got to a point where they would even tell the story to me every night. And it was so cute. Like I would try and keep the wording very simple. And so my youngest would always like do the fly overhead and, and then they would hug and I would say, who's my little peacock? And she would say, I am. And who's the special owl? I am. It was
so cute.
I know. I would love to turn that into a book. I mean, the whole idea of a sleep story is not mine. I think you can find different versions of it online. And I think a lot of sleep specialists do it.
Yeah.
But the owl and the peacock story is mine.
I love it. I love it. If I tell my daughter that story, I'll be like, and credit, every time. But Special Owl is going to make me laugh for a while. So thank you. All right, let's jump into the Big Mom 3. Yes. So first question of Big Mom 3, did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
I always wanted to be a mom growing up. I went through like a short phase where I think I confused not being ready to be a mom with not wanting to be a mom. And I remember it was like in, my late teens, early 20s. I remember telling my mom once that I didn't want to have kids. And she was like, don't you say that ever again. I'm like, oh. Okay. I'm
Mhm.
blaming you, but I outgrew that, I think it just took meeting the right person. And my husband and I have been together for like 15 years now. It's been a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
longer, 16. I don't know. It's been a long time. But I pretty much knew a few years into our relationship that, I was going to be a mama.
And you have two girls, two little
Yeah.
sweet girls. I know 8 and one's turning 5.
Yes, her birthday. She's my Thanksgiving turkey. It's on Wednesday.
Gobble gobble to her. Happy birthday. That's
Thank
great.
you.
That's so cool. Okay, big mom question number 2. What is the shittiest or most backhanded piece of advice? I know, I love the deep sigh I get from everyone. You've ever gotten from another mother or parent?
So I feel like I've been fortunate for the most part where I haven't had like a lot of negativity come at me. Well, until I got online and then, you were all over the top, like at left and right. But no, the most like backhanded kind of like snarky shit people would say to me always came about nursing because I nursed both of my girls for kind of, and I don't know if it was a long time. I think they were close to 2, both of them. And they kind of weaned themselves, or it was like easy. They were both ready when we weaned. But I would get people that would say like all kinds of weird shit, like, "Ugh, if she's old enough to ask, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it anymore." I'm like, she asked for it with sign language when she was 1. I'm sorry, I'm not going to stop then. Like before she was 1. So like, mind your fucking business. Um, or people would say things like, if you don't stop now, you're never going to be able to. I'm like, I don't care. I would have kept going till
Great,
they
then I'll
were 3.
breastfeed it forever. Big
It's my
deal.
problem. It's not yours. So like, why? It wasn't like I ever walked around complaining about it. But I mean, sometimes it was inconvenient, and like, I'm not gonna lie, like it felt good to get my body back. But I
Sure.
also cried for like 2 weeks after both of them weaned because I was like, So
Hey,
anyway,
my wife is still breastfeeding, and it was like a week before Lily's 1-year birthday, and she was hysterical crying. She's like, "What if we don't make it to a year?" They made it to a year. She's still breastfeeding her, and I was like, "What if you don't make it to a year?" Okay,
it is. It's
okay,
whatever works for you. Like
that's right.
You know, like when people co-sleep with their kids till they're 6 or 7, that's your business.
I wish my daughter would sleep in bed with me. It's my dream that she will cuddle up to me and sleep next to me. She wants nothing to do with it. I'm like, we can co-sleep. I'll co-sleep. Doesn't want it.
Yeah,
Doesn't
that's
want
how
it.
some kids are. My kid she like burrows her feet under your butt. And so like you can't sleep because she's like burrowing. So as much as I love snuggling, and I know that my snuggle days are numbered, I'm like, but yeah. So it's
No.
just that's the only thing that I think I ever got like that people gave me a hard time about.
Well, like you're so right though. Like you're like, it's not your problem, right? I think that's like one of the worst qualities in like the moms that I don't try to highlight on this show, right? Like if my kid's well-being is in at stake, which it's not, why do
Yeah.
you care? Why do you care? Doesn't matter. Are you gonna go home and be like, man, Jess and Katie, what shitty parents? They're still breastfeeding their daughter. Like, you care.
Who cares?
Who
Mind
cares?
your business.
They can't. I guess it's because they don't have anything better to do, and they're probably shitty moms anyway. Anyway, third question of the Big Mom 3. What is a skill or superpower you had before becoming a mom that you think has really helped you as a mom?
Well, I think my theater background helped. I think
Ding, 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 ding. Yep.
yes. Um, the ability to tell a story or to connect through books and through, theater and things like that has always been wonderful. My kids love show tunes and like they love stuff like that. And we sing songs like we listen to soundtracks from different plays and in the car. And then I really, really bonded with my oldest, and I can't wait. My youngest is not quite ready, but over Harry Potter. And we read them because I loved them, and I've read them multiple times, like
Sure.
as not as a teenager, but I think I started reading them in college. And so I couldn't wait to read them to her, and she loved them too. And I remember being awake like way later than we should have after my youngest had been to bed, and she'd just be like, "One more chapter," and I love doing the voices and
Yeah.
like, and so it's just been a good bonding experience, that kind of background. And I hope that I pass it along to them, or at least an appreciation for it. They both play instruments, so that's nice.
Oh, cool. What do they play?
My oldest plays the piano. She's been playing for about 2.5 years, and my youngest plays the violin. Oh my God,
Oh,
it's
cool. That's so cute.
yes.
What's your best Harry Potter impression? You're doing all the voices. What's your best one?
I mean, I just do like little accents and stuff. I don't want to do them. I have to practice them.
All right. Listen, I hate when people pick me up. People are like, Jess, sing. And I'm like, no. No, I'm just fucking with you. But I think that's very cute. And it really leads me to what I was going to bring up next, which is you're an actor. That's your background. That's what you've done, as your profession in theater, film, TV. For those of you who don't know, she's not just like a sweet, sweet online poet. She has this whole other world going on.
I feel
had kicking the ass as a mom, and then like COVID is also like, oh, you guys think theater still exists? Oh.
I know.
Who knew we had the most badass hobby in the world, huh?
Yeah.
I had no idea. No idea.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I closed the show March 13th.
Really?
March 14th. Yeah.
And then shut down.
Done.
That's so frustrating. What show was it?
American Idiot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you're having like simulated on-stage sex one day, and then the next day you're like, I should get tested. Did anyone in my cast have it? They sure did.
I mean, crazy. I feel like it pretty much ravaged New York. My husband was a chef there for the longest time, and like everyone that he knew got sick.
New Jersey, it's the same, it's the same bubble of stuff. But anyway, so you're an actor. So I know you've had like a nice long career. So you're not currently, COVID aside, you're not really pursuing that right now.
No, I kind of quit pursuing it. So I did, I did some film and television roles, like while I was living in New York, and some theater things. I did a lot of student films with NYU. And I worked on All My Children as a nurse and did like background and under 5 stuff for years and years. So that was cool. Like the under 5 days were always really exciting because, you got to hold Susan Lucci's purse and say like 2 lines, you know what I mean? But yeah, I was always a nurse. So that was cool. So when there was like a tornado in Pine Valley that lasted an entire 2 weeks, I worked like every day. It was awesome.
Pretty good.
Because, that's how time works in a soap opera. Like 1 day is 2 weeks, but then a baby turns 18 in like 6 months, And
then Kelly Ripa plays a really like badass, and then all of a sudden she's hosting, Good Morning with Kelly Ripa or whatever. Who knows? Soap operas are weird.
I know. I loved it. I wanted to be a soap opera villain so bad. Like that's why I went to the
city. It's the ultimate. Yeah.
I wanted to play my Uncle Glenn. Can you imagine how fun? Plus it's like, oh my God, it's really solid work. Like, I mean, you don't have to think about like where your next meal is coming from. Like you get a role like that and you work. And yeah, it's hard
to like slap people constantly. It's constant slapping and like water throwing.
But you know what? There's such professionals it was amazing. I loved work. My days working there were so fun. And it worked perfect too, because they shot during the day and I worked as a server at night. So like I could do both. Like I would even, I would always go and be like, God, I hope I get out in time to make it to the restaurant. But it worked out really well. And so anyway, not both of them, but all of the soap operas ended up moving out to LA in 2010. And that was the same year that I got married. And I was planning a wedding from New York in Charlotte, North Carolina. So like it kind of was like, all right, well, I guess that's moving on. I knew I wasn't going to go out to LA. My husband, he wasn't my husband at the time, but like his job was there. And so I figured I'd just pursue other things. But then we got married and I got pregnant. And I did like a little bit of like pregnancy modeling, and my kids both did some modeling when they were little. It doesn't pay anything. Like especially for kids. Like my daughter did Target, and I think she made like $200. It's like,
Yeah.
she's like, her picture is like in Target. And so when we moved out to Jersey, it was like, ugh, I can't. Driving back and forth, paying tolls, trying to find parking. I showed up like a sweaty mess running through the city. I had to park so far away for an audition once, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not. Another time. They
It
do
sucks
so
the
much.
joy out of it, you
It
know?
They do so much online now. Like, I mean, you submit your pictures online. You don't even print them anymore. So, like, at some point, maybe
Yeah.
I'll try again. We'll see.
I love it. Well, so, like I said to you before we jumped on, and as I've said on the show many times, and I mean it, and I cannot wait until my daughter's older and she watches this back and is embarrassed. If my daughter does not love theater in the same way I do, I'm going to jump off my house. You're going to jump off the roof.
Even
So
even if she doesn't want to go into theater, I don't see how she could not love it with you as a mom.
I hope so. And listen, I don't need her to like do it professionally, right? That like sucked the life out of that wasn't for me. That life was that like grind and the audition. I hated that. I don't, if she wants to, great. But the passion, right? I think it's such a passionate hobby. So like, do you see it in your girls at all? I know they're playing instruments, but do you see them being drawn to that at all?
They're both, especially my oldest, very, very dramatic. It's really hard to say. They love to perform. Um, but then they get shy when you like suggest that they do it in front of other people, which was never an issue for me. Like I was putting on
Really?
shows for people like all my neighbors. I'd have my parents like bring them over and I would jump up on the coffee table and like do a song and dance for them. Like that was my stage. And the
So
first time I read a play, which was in second grade or something, it was like just in one of our textbooks. I came home and I directed my brother and my cousin and my friend, and no one was doing their parts right. So I ended up doing all the parts. And we have a video of this. My parents have, I set up the tripod and like made a
oh,
video
yeah.
doing this. So like they are different than I was, but
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily mean that like, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not going to push them either way. Honestly, I'm going to make them sure that they're exposed to it. I want them to be exposed to all kinds of culture. I
Right.
want them to be exposed to all kinds of foods and all kinds of like music. And then whatever they're drawn to, I want to encourage that because
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that my parents didn't be like, no, you have to go to business school because that would have fucking sucked. And a theater degree means nothing, like literally nothing. I'll never get a job with it. But like, I would not be happy
Yours
with
though.
anything else, you
Listen,
know?
my creative writing degree is doing a lot too. So
I hear you,
I
but
write a mean email. I write a great email. And I, on occasion, will publish a great article.
yeah, but that's great. That's awesome. You're hustling. You're
I'm hustling. The 45K later or more times four, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how much college costs. I had a scholarship. But, however much it costs.
yes.
All that for my piece of paper with my degree. But I think a theater degree is wonderful. I think it's nice. Are you a sports fan? Like,
I
because I can't do that.
was a
Like,
huge sports fan for a long time. My parents had season tickets to the Panthers games in Charlotte, and we used to go. And I used to do like a sports fan podcast for the Panthers, and I thought maybe being a sportscaster for a while would be fun. But um, I loved football and baseball forever, but I just don't have time for it now. Like I can't spend
uh,
4 hours staring at the TV on a Sunday when my kids are like both home and
so if your girls like took up sports, you'd be fine.
yeah, they won't. I don't, if if they end up being really good at sports, that's amazing, but
Oh,
I don't see it in their future, but that's totally, you know what I mean? Like my girls are very cautious.
yeah.
They're, my 8-year-old just learned how to ride a bike, like just now. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, just now.
Okay. So
So
it's not like athleticism's not like free flowing.
I'm not saying they're not athletic. I just am not sure that's where they're headed. But I
Okay.
will not discourage them from anything, whatever makes them happy. They did
That's
gymnastics
good,
before
Mom.
COVID, and it was what it was.
Well, gymnastics is like performative. My wife and I are both so terribly like not athletic that we're fearful. You're fearful of what you don't know. Like I had to toss a roll of toilet paper up the stairs a few days ago. It took probably 15 tries. So I don't think I'm going to be much
finally make it.
Like it was like an underhand, and then it was like a side toss, and then like really, really bad. So I don't think I'm going to be much help, but I'm with you. Whatever they want, you have to encourage your kids to do what they love.
Yeah, whatever makes them happy. I totally.
So. I love it. Okay, let's shift gears. So you have something cool that's going on right now. You have a new book out. So talk to me about your book. It's called, what is it? Little quotes by little folks?
By little folks, and it's a group project.
Okay.
I did a lot of like writing stuff and like some acting stuff for this collaborative art site for a long time. Like it was kind of like my introduction into social media, like before I ever got on Instagram or Twitter. And I met all these friends, and we did a comedy podcast. We did like not a TV show, but we did like a show for, you know, the thing where we each directed like an episode, and it was really cool. And well, we all met that way. And we decided we wanted to try a collaborative project offsite. So I have a partner, and she is amazing. She is so organized and so smart and like really, really driven, and like keeps everybody like motivated.
Everybody needs that.
Yeah. Well, it's really hard. Like we've never met in real life. Like we have, you know, done a whole bunch of like Zoom and, you know, Skype meetings and things like that. But I've known Rebecca for 5 years now, and I've never actually met her in person, but I've done like 7 or 8 projects with her.
It's so funny. So,
yeah, it's amazing. And that site like really saved my life right when my youngest was born, because we had just moved out to New Jersey, and I'd left my whole social circle, and I don't have any family nearby. So like it was amazing to like meet people online. I didn't even know that was like a real thing, but to create art with them at the same time was like unbelievable. And so, yeah, we did a lot of really cool stuff. And so she decided she wanted to see if we could do this project off site. And so we kind of did it on our own. And one of the illustrators that we found was from there. And she had done, so anyway, like 3 of us did the podcast together. And then our illustrator, we all knew each other. And so anyway, it's called Little Quotes by Little Folks. And it is just quotes from people all over the world, from kids, not from people, from little kids. And we illustrated them, we collected them, we did a Kickstarter campaign to fund it, because we, you know, making a book costs money. It took us about a year. We thought we could do it quicker, but COVID and, you know, just.
Well, with illustrations, it's tough too. It's a whole other ball game when you have an illustrated book, right? Like it's not just writing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he did an amazing job. Like, oh God, his name's Jake Olson. He's fantastic. He did a really, really great job. And, you know, it's hard when you're working like not in an office. You know what I mean? We're just kind of having to work around each other's schedules. And this is a passion project. So to keep 4 people motivated and getting things rolling, and that's hard. But I run the social media page. We have an Instagram page, a Twitter account, and a Facebook. And we still are collecting quotes. So if you want to submit a quote, go to littlequotesbook.com, and you can always submit them. We post them every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Right now, we're kind of pushing the book sales. So
first, yeah. What's your favorite quote from the book? Like, what's one that just cracks you up?
Oh, there's so many. One of them is, well, my daughter's is obviously my favorite. She used to call this trail mix her nut snack. And we'd be like on the subway, and she'd be like, "Mommy, want to try my nut snack? I love nut snack. This nut snack is so delicious." And people would be like, "What is this child saying?" But we've got some wonderful ones like, "Mommy, you have a beard in your armpit," or "Do you miss me when you blink?" Like just really, really cute. Like, oh, such really, really good stuff.
How did you guys go about like collecting all the quotes? You just had people submit?
Well, we did the Kickstarter campaign at first, and we collected most of them through there. And we really wanted our backers to all have quotes in the book. And so it would be like $2. You submit $2, you can submit a quote. Submit $10, you'll get an ebook, plus you get to give however many quotes. $25 and you get a book, plus you get to submit however many quotes. Some people have multiple quotes in the book, but it's a beautiful hardcover. Here, hold on. A beautiful hardcover.
Oh, cool. I love it.
And I mean, I don't know if I want to show all the pictures.
No, don't do it. People should buy it. Buy her book.
Yeah. Buy the book.
I
You can find it on Amazon and any like major booksellers. So
cool.
it's a really great present for like families. Oh, and I will show you one thing in it that is totally awesome. We have a place where you can write down all your own quotes, and we even give you like little prompts to kind of help you get like funny responses from your kids. So it's like a keepsake too. So you can kind of record it. But anyway, we filled in all the missing spaces from people on social media. So through our Instagram account and our Twitter account, we got a lot of other submissions. I think that there's probably like 20 or so that we got just from people online afterwards.
That is so cool. Well, congratulations. And everyone buy her book. You just heard. You can get on Amazon, any major bookseller. They have their own Instagram. Yes. I will tag all of it out so you can find it very, very easily. If you not buy her book, I will take it as a personal attack.
That is a really good sales pitch.
I will be offended forever. So if you give a shit about that, buy her book. All right, let's start to wrap it up.
Perfect.
Okay, last of my one of two questions. So first one, what is something, your girls are, almost 5 and 8. What is something you cannot live without as a mom?
My family.
Family. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, without question. When my youngest was a baby, no, when my oldest was a baby, we would FaceTime like sometimes multiple times a day. I don't have family nearby, which is hard.
They're all in North Carolina?
Most of my family is in North Carolina, and my husband's mother is in St. Louis. But when we first had my oldest, she was in Boston, and she would drive down once a month. And she is so dedicated to her grandchildren and in being a part of their lives. And my parents, oh my God, my parents are, there are no words. They are absolutely unbelievably wonderful. And I talk to my mom like every day. And so we go and we visit. We drive down to North Carolina and stay for like a month every summer. My husband's a chef, so he works crazy hours. And so anyway, I couldn't do it without my family. And even though they're not nearby, they are still such a huge support system. My parents come here in February. I mean, not this February, but every February they come. So my husband and I can take a vacation and they stay with our girls. Like, they're just, if I have any questions, I can call my mom and she'll just be supportive. And she's never tried to push me to parent my children a different way than what she thought worked. Like, she's always been like, okay, well, this is what Sarah's doing, so we're going to accept that and we're going to go with it.
That's so cool to come from that type of support system. Good for you.
It's wonderful. I wish we were closer, but yeah.
Yeah. I have an interim question. So I know your husband's like a pretty private guy, but I have a chef related question because that's my dream come true because I can't cook for shit. My wife's a great cook. Do you ever have to cook, or do you just make him cook for you all the time?
He's never home, so I have to cook. Yeah, like all the time. He cooks when he's home. I mean, and when he cooks, it's amazing. I need to put them back in my I put him in my stories when we had our 10-year anniversary. He did a whole tasting menu of like crazy food. I should have saved them into my highlights because they were like really, really fancy. But that was like his gift to me, is to put on this like amazing meal. Most of what we eat is like what the girls like. So, we have great food and it's prepared perfectly, but like it's steak and potatoes, which is not that is special. Not everyone can eat that.
Of course.
Even his pasta dishes, they're simple, but they're tasty. I think he cooks once a week. We would go out once a week on his days off if he got that many. So
okay, still my dream come true.
I learned. I'm not a great cook, but
you learned. I've tried to learn. I don't know. I'm some type of moron when it comes to that. I'm a good baker. I love to bake. I cannot cook. Can't do it.
Yeah. My little one doesn't like my food. I don't know. You'll have to, in some of my social media posts, you'll see some of the stuff that she'll say, like, "Mommy, I will always love you," but or what did she say? "I'll always love you, even though your dinners taste really yucky."
I saw you posted that.
It was something like that. She came in and gave me a hug. I was like, "Thanks."
Like, don't touch me. Yeah, I've asked my wife a million times, like, I think you need to teach me a few things to make so like our daughter doesn't think I'm a total loser. But
You'll have your meals that they'll like. It's funny, they like my spaghetti better than my husband's, but, it's just
all
this
right,
like, it is what it
it's
is.
a win. It's a win for you. Okay, last question.
Yes.
What is something you know now that you wish you knew before becoming a mom?
Okay, so working, like, in restaurants and, having those weird hours, I wish that I'm not saying I would had written people off, but I wish that I hadn't counted on so many people to be there after I had my oldest, because the letdown that I felt when I had a baby and it was like all of a sudden, like, it's not that I was a pariah, but like out of sight, out of mind,
Oh,
like when you work in a restaurant, you hang out with whoever is working that shift and you guys go out after, and that's what it is. And the unbelievable loneliness after my daughter was born, and just feeling like I had lost like all these people that like I thought were such good friends, was really, really hard. And I finally built up a mom community in the city, and then we moved to New Jersey. And I had another baby out there, and it was difficult, and it took me like finding that first online collaborative community and then finding the Instagram moms to like
yeah.
really truly, I feel like I have found some moms on Twitter and Instagram that are some of the best friends I've ever had. And I know that sounds crazy. My
No,
husband
it
sometimes
doesn't.
jokes that they're like my imaginary friends, but he knows they're not imaginary, obviously, but
Yeah.
he'll make little jokes about that. Um, but I wish that I had known to just let go sooner, because then I could have embraced it sooner and like moved on to where I am now. And then I wouldn't have had that disappointment. So,
That's a good one. Like I've heard the like loneliness one before. I've heard, like that kind of thing. But you're right. Like working in restaurants, it's a really weird environment, and you're sort of friends with who you're like on shift with that day, and like doesn't stick around. So it's
yeah, I
it's
just wish I had
interesting.
known ahead of time. If I had just known, I could have made peace with the split a little bit easier and not had my feelings hurt as much. Because now I
Yeah,
look back and I'm like, I get it, you know?
sure. Yeah. If you don't have and if you don't have kids, it's like it's hard to understand. Like it's a different life.
It's a
Your life
very different
changes.
life.
It really does. Even if
Yeah.
you're like, I'm still myself, I'm still me, like you're me plus one or me plus two. And it's very different.
You might not change, but your priorities do, which actually really
Absolutely.
changes you, not in ways that you want it to, but you can't help it.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you so much for being here. Where can everyone find you, the book? I know on, all book buying sites, but your social media, where can people find you? Because in addition to your book, your like Instagram is super funny.
Oh,
So
thank
where can
you.
people find you?
My name is Rhyming Mama. My handle is Sarah Bella B123. If you like really naughty mom poems, I've got quite a few. They're not all naughty. Some are nice. But yeah, I do some poetry readings and some tweet readings on there. But the poetry is really that's like my passion right now. So
And that's like ultimately you'd love to go like and
yeah,
make another book around your
I'd
poem.
love like a Shel Silverstein kind of, inspired book of mom poems, just silly little rhymes and stuff.
Will
I'd
you
love
be
to do
putting my intro in there or no?
I, I would definitely share that. I share it whenever anyone posts a poem online. I always share it on my page because I love it. It's so funny to find other moms that write poems, because like mine are. I mean, some write like these deep poems, but mine are like silly and rhyme and like.
Yours are fun. Yours are fun. I
I mean,
hope that the beginning of your book is like to Jess for your one intro that you made for me on your show 3 years ago. Like something, that's what I hope it is. So I hope. So I'll keep my fingers crossed and my breath held until then. Fair?
Perfect.
Perfect. And what is the social media for your book right now?
It's Little Quotes by Little Folks. So if you go to our website, Little Quotes by Little Folks, um, and yeah, that's what it is, littlequotesbylittlefolks.com, you can find all of our social is linked there. Our Instagram has the biggest following. We're still new. We're a new
Yeah.
brand, but we're trying to open it up a little bit, you know. So we'll see how the book sales go. And
well, they're going to go really well because I've made a threat on here. So we'll see. But thank you so much for being here. And thank you guys for tuning into Shit Moms Won't Say. You have made this ride super, super fun. Have a great night.